G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to, would you guess it, another episode of r/AmITheA A-hole. Now if you love this content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbecue, and enjoy the bloody good content. Thank you. Our first post is by user 33_5×333, titled, Am I the a-hole for filing a complaint against my doctor after she gave my mum my medical information? Now, I want to start by saying that I, female 25, don't have the best relationship with my mum. I have an older sister, and growing up, my mum always tended to control me and tried to override any decisions I make, saying that I was young and naive, and she always knew better. I cut contact with her for a few months after she tried to get involved in my marriage. My husband and I have been together for 3 years, and he's always been telling me to get more gentle with my mum. Look, I had a miscarriage a few days ago. It's devastating, and I really thought it'll get easier, but I'm still feeling excruciating pain and frustration. We were happy and excited, but all that disappeared suddenly, and it was hard for me to take because I thought everything was fine. I didn't tell anyone, especially since I'm currently dealing with some health issues. I didn't tell anyone in my family. My husband promised not to tell until I'm ready. My mum kept asking me questions and brought up my pregnancy constantly, and my answers were short, because I didn't want her to know since she'd call everybody and let them know. She's always like this, and that's why I tend to keep things private. I decided to not visit for a couple of days, hoping that she would stop asking questions. Then I found out on Facebook that my mum announced my miscarriage on her page, and I didn't know about that. I was shocked, I freaked out when I started getting calls from all my family members, and I have no idea how many people knew about it. I was so mad to the point of shaking. Everyone kept berating me for not telling them. I called my mum and I yelled at her. She defended herself, saying that she was just looking for support, and that I should have told her about it the first time that she asked, what was wrong? I asked her who told her, and she said she had a talk with my doctor, but I shouldn't be mad because she's my mum and she had the right to know what's going on. I argued with her about getting involved in my personal life and disregarding my feelings and catching me off guard like that. I went to the doctor and I lashed out at her for releasing my private medical information to my mum and causing me to deal with everyone asking why I was hiding my miscarriage from them, even though I was just waiting for the right time. I told my doctor that I was going to file a complaint against her the same day since she didn't respect my privacy, and decided to give my mum information about my medical records. My mum heard and started berating me, saying that it wasn't the doctor's fault, and that she was a friend of hers that she knew years ago, but I didn't know about it. She said that I went too far, and I acted like my family were strangers. She said that she's my mum, and I didn't need to overreact like that. All I needed was time and space. Now I have to deal with all this stress, and I'm a mess right now. And my brother texted me a few minutes ago, and said that he wanted to come over and talk to me. He was the first to call me, and berated me, and said that I was being hostile towards everyone for no reason. I haven't replied to his text yet, but I don't want to see anyone right now. I can't take one more word from them. Yeah, I think this anger is completely justified. It doesn't matter if the doctor is a family friend. It doesn't excuse them handing over your personal information, and then it doesn't excuse your mum from posting about it on Facebook. I've never seen it myself, but I would be embarrassed and ashamed of anyone that does that. How is posting about your daughter's miscarriage something appropriate to do on Facebook if you don't have permission to do it? Like, for God's sake, do people just remove their brains when it comes to Facebook sometimes? I do not understand these people. Not the a-hole OP, I'm so sorry this happened to you. The Empress is in says, not the a-hole. They violated HIPAA. Report them. Nothing else matters. This is a violation of law, and you are suffering hardship due to it. And OP replies, I'm dealing with enough already, and I didn't need all this stress and anxiety. I stopped talking to everyone about it because they kept saying that I was in the wrong and I should have told them about it. Sweetie, they can claim the sky is green for all it matters. They are still all in the wrong. Everyone that dared chastise you for not publicly discussing something deeply personal, I've been through it, I know, can all take a flying leap. Every last one of them. You don't need this nonsense, and every one of them owes you an apology. Also, you need a new doctor that you can trust, and to report yours to HIPAA. To protect the others they will do the same to, because it will happen 100%. Not to mention that, in some families, this could have put you in real danger. This doctor is not fit to practice, it is your moral duty to report them immediately. Not the a-hole. As a matter of fact, if what you were saying is 100% true, your doctor broke HIPAA violation, and that is grounds for termination at the very least. Not the a-hole. What the hell is wrong with your doctor? She's friends with Mummy Dearest. Apparently patient confidentiality is not important to her, and she needs to find a new profession. Report, sue, and no contact with Mum or anyone calling to yell at you for not sharing your private medical information at their demand. Not the a-hole, in case it's not 1,000,000% obvious. And what do you guys think about this one? Have you personally seen news like this pop up on social media before? Was it taken down? Is it still up? And what would you do in this circumstance? I'd love to know down in the comments. Our next post is by user ThrowRA273152, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to host Christmas after my mother woke my sleeping babies? Due to a bunch of soap opera level bullshit, I, 26 female, am raising 2 babies, a boy and a girl, who were born within 2 months of each other, and only one of them is biologically mine. My ex-husband is the father of both, and he stuck around long enough to give me custody before he effed off to be irresponsible somewhere else. The babies are 6 and 8 months old. Despite the aforementioned bullshit, I love them both with all my heart. However, taking care of 2 kids alone is going about as well as you'd expect. I'm tired, I'm stressed, and despite being on maternity leave until the new year, I'm still getting emails and texts from coworkers asking me questions. Plus, I had to move to a new place 4 months ago with 2 newborns in tow. Again, entirely alone because I didn't want to break isolation. Anyway, Christmas is coming up, and it's my turn to host this year. I was very hesitant at first, and even refused, but they convinced me on some conditions. It's just my parents and my brother, and that's it. No +1, no extended family. Everyone is taking precautions, which began at the start of this month. And if they so much as sniffle, I reserve the right to kick them out. Christmas Day be damned. Mum came over today to bring me some items for Christmas. Nothing ridiculous, just a tablecloth, some of the food that will keep for a week, and some candles. She told me she was on her way, and I responded to say that the kids are asleep, which I stressed was a big thing, because they never sleep at the same time. So she needs to be almost inhumanly quiet, and she said that was fine. I got to the door, let her in, started to put stuff away, and she asked to use the bathroom. I said sure, and reminded her where it was, and off she went. Within a minute, I hear both babies crying. I leg it upstairs, and Mum is stood there looking guilty as sin. I gesture for her to leave the room, which she does, and put the 8-month-old back to sleep, but can't do the same for the 6-month-old. So I take her downstairs, and Mum is still there. Mum begins to apologize, saying she just wanted to hold them, as she's never actually met them. I say that's fine, but she has just made me realize what a spectacularly bad idea hosting Christmas is, or having visitors in general, and gave her the stuff back and saw her out. This has caused a whole shit show. My family is saying that I have to reconsider hosting Christmas, saying it's inconsiderate of me to change plans at such short notice, seeing as they've changed their work schedules in order to isolate, and that my parents can't host on such short notice. I've told them to figure it out. They then asked that I come to Christmas at their place, and I've refused. And they're saying that that's also unreasonable, and calling me an arsehole. So, the question is, am I the arsehole for refusing to host Christmas after my mother woke up my sleeping babies? And in this instance, I don't think you would be. I think she wasn't even able to respect not waking the kids up. She said she's going to the bathroom. You said don't, upset the kids. And look what happened. Even without everyone else in the house, it's not deathly quiet. You've got 2 6 and 8-month-old children in your house. Can you not imagine how much crying there is going to be at Christmas? Because they're not going to understand what all these weird smells, voices, people are. It's all this interruption. I personally would not want to go to a Christmas party where there are 2 screaming babies going on the entire time. It just does not sit well with me. Not only do I not like the noise, I would not like that I am disturbing these babies that are just trying to, chill and have a good time. That seems to be the case here. I feel like I'm not over-dramatizing this one. Therefore, I can't blame OP for shutting that down. I can see why they wanted to host in the first place, but reality hits at the darndest of times, doesn't it? I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. Burbalooge says, not the a-hole. Your mum knows better than to bother sleeping children. And maybe it's just my upbringing, but the fact that no one came by to help you is insane. Mum did offer to come by once, immediately after I gave birth, but I said no, as I wanted to be alone with my kids for a bit. No one has offered since then. Honestly, I'm sure you're doing a good job, but at least in Indian culture, an older woman you know and trust shows up. My aunt flew across the world when my youngest sister was born, and my grandma did the same when my other sister was born. I really love the connection I have with my family through that. It takes a village, etc. Obviously, your ex is a hot piece of trash and exiled from the village, but it's good to have people around you when you need help or just support. It depends on what kind of support that is. I've known way too many people who love to shove their opinions in your face. You gotta eat fatty pig feet to have milk. No showering for a month. Nah. You can only eat braised pork belly and a fuck ton of rice every meal. No, this is how to burp them. Let me show you the way to put them to sleep. Why are you drinking iced soda? It's not good for the milk. Lol? With those people, I'd rather be alone. Why are you hosting Christmas this year? Because it's your turn? Do they realize you have 2 babies? Do they not care? This is completely ridiculous. They should be caring for you and doing all the hosting, not the a-hole. I'd legit fight someone for waking up 2 infants. I would have seen red and not be able to control my mouth for sure. Your mum is an asshole. Who wakes up a baby? Not the a-hole. You have way too much going on, and clearly people aren't understanding your situation. Not to mention the stress of it all. Throwing off their schedules and, oh yeah, that pesky pandemic thing. Everyone sucks here. Your mother should not have woken the babies, but it does seem like you're repeatedly pushing your family and potential support away, then stating how hard it is to do it alone. OP mentioned in a comment after initially declining at the beginning now, they don't offer. And coming round to wake the babies doesn't paint a helpful picture. We don't know what her parents or family are like pandemic precautions-wise. She might be extremely cautious because she knows they don't follow them and didn't want to risk the babies. I think no one with 2 children that young together would do it alone unless there's a good reason. She must have been pushed to her limits multiple times before now, and yet they are not around. Edit. Seen OP's comment that she's told her mum she's welcome to come round if she isolates beforehand, but her mum has never been able to stick to it and always breaks it. So it's mum's fault she hasn't seen her grandchildren, and unfortunately, not OP's fault that she's not had her support. Our next post is by user Just Call Him Rick, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend it's wrong to call her son Dickie against his wishes? My girlfriend and I have been together 5 years. She has a son, Richard, middle name, who is 10. I've always called him Little Man or DJ as a nickname. His family calls him Dickie. Richard is a family tradition kind of name for them, and most of the men have it somehow. Her dad goes by Dick, also a Richard, and I always cringed when I heard the name because I knew the kid was going to come to hate it when he got older. Well, lo and behold, the shoe has dropped. I'm surprised it took as long as it did. They have half virtual and half online learning this year, and apparently other kids have been teasing him. My girlfriend had a phone conference with his teacher because he got into an altercation at school. He's about to go to middle school next year, so it's just going to get worse, I'm sure. My girl says other kids need to learn to not bully, and she won't change his name just because kids are mean, and she wants him to learn to stick up for himself. Honestly, I don't see that working out too good since sticking up for himself already got him detention once. I talked to him guy to guy after my girlfriend asked me to, and asked what was up with school. He said kids tease him and make him mad over his name being slang for, well, he hadn't even known the other meaning till the kids told him. I said he's going to be at new school for the 6th grade, so he can go by anything he wants then with a clean slate. And I told him Ricky, or Rich, or Rocky, or R, or literally anything could replace Dickie. And he said he just wants DJ, like I call him, and I said okay, let's tell your mom. And she wasn't happy. Long story short, I'm in the doghouse now because what I did was encourage that his name is bad and undermine her because she wanted to teach to ignore the bullies. I told her he has a right to use what name he wants, and hell, I don't even go by my legal name either because people can choose their names, even kids. She pulled the, he's not your kid, he's mine, as if she didn't ask for my help and I haven't helped raise him too. I told her she's being a bully herself by doing something that makes little man upset, but she doesn't see it that way. So, the question is, am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend it's wrong to call her son Dickie against his wishes? And I'd say, no, you are not the a-hole for saying that. I feel like people like to overcomplicate these matters, and it seems like in her head, she has overcomplicated this one. You can't let the bullies win because if you change your name, that means the bullies won. She probably has never been bullied in her life before, or doesn't remember what it's like to be bullied because, Jesus, the effects of it are damning, that's for sure. Yes, it sucks that the name that you like as a mother to this child has to be changed because he wants to change it. You can't force him to not do it just because you don't want it to happen. That's really what this boils down to. Let the man change his name, let him be happy, and not having the threat of being bullied for that. I suck at articulating these things sometimes, but that's really the gist of it here. This mother sucks, and OP is great, in my opinion, for helping him and, not putting him down for being like, oh, you can't change your name? DJ's a sick name, and then when people give you nicknames, you can be like, DJ Rich, DJ Rocky, let's go. He's in the 6th or the 7th grade. That's not cringe. That's more so encouraged at those ages. They'll be like, whoa, that's sick, bro. What Pokemon cards do you open up this week? Let's go. I respect the name DJ, and I respect OP for helping out. Not the a-hole. Now, down in the comments, Kyrian quotes, she wants him to learn to stick up for himself. Oh, so does she mean like when he asks people to call him by his preferred name? Or does he only get to stand up for himself when it's about something she wants? I told her she's being a bully herself. Yup, not the a-hole, and she absolutely is. Kids have the excuse of being kids, she doesn't. She's making a stand, knowing that someone else is the target. Mum can stand back, pretending to be high and mighty, while her kid suffers. And now that the kid's got a chance to get away from all the baggage of his name, she's ready to intentionally make him miserable. I hope she's ready for Rick to tell people his mother is nuts and that his name is Richard, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. The kid hates his nickname. Not even his name. His nickname. And then she asks you to go talk to him without instructions to convince him. So, you did. You found out that he wants to drop his nickname and you're in trouble? What is with people giving nicknames others don't want? Man, not the a-hole at all. That poor kid. She's not the one who got teased, he is. If I were him, I'd stop answering to Dickie and introduce myself by my full name or my chosen nickname only. Not the a-hole. You respected your kid's autonomy and let him decide what he wants to be called. Your girlfriend is the a-hole for saddling the child with that awful nickname, then having the audacity of getting mad at you because you don't want your kid being called something he doesn't want to be called. Edit. Even though you're technically not the dad, you are helping raise a child, which is awesome. Keep being awesome. And our last comment, not the a-hole. Your kid is sticking up for himself by telling his mum that he doesn't want to be called that anymore. Maybe she should start respecting that since she wants him to learn that skill so badly. You're right, she is being a bully, and right now, she's being a bad mum. DJ's a great nickname, and if I were your kid, I'd start refusing to respond to being called anything but that or Richard. And our last post is by user College or Rehabit. What is that name? Titled, Am I the a-hole for not using my daughter's college fund for my stepson's rehab? The title basically sums it up, I suppose. My husband and I have been married for 3 years now. I have a daughter 15 female, and he has a son 24 male. I'm friendly with my stepson, but we aren't close. He has a biological mother who is a perfectly fine woman. I'm not here to take the role of his mom. Now, my late husband, my daughter's father, died when my daughter was 6. We both contributed to our college fund. My daughter's paternal grandparents have also contributed a large amount. Right now, the fund has about $180,000. My daughter is extremely bright, and I'm not just saying that because I'm her mom. I truly believe she has the capacity to go to an Ivy League school, and her teachers have said that she has the potential as well, and I don't want costs to hold her back. Our income would be too high to get any meaningful financial aid, and while there are a few merit-based scholarships out there that she'll be applying to, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket and hope she gets it when it's so competitive. My current husband and I have separate finances. He doesn't contribute at all to my daughter's fund. My stepson is struggling with a heroin addiction and has stolen money, jewelry, heirlooms, and electronics from us for drug money. I understand that addiction is a disease, and I personally paid for an outpatient detox for him, which cost $1,000, which failed. His father then paid for an outpatient rehab program, which cost $6,500, which also didn't work, because he barely showed up. He promised us he'd do better next time, and he needed another chance. So I split the cost of another $6,500 outpatient rehab program with my husband, which seemed to work during the program, but he relapsed as soon as he got out of it. I've spent so much money, time, and energy, and it hasn't helped at all. My husband and my stepson want to try a 60-day inpatient rehab program, which will cost $30,000. I have absolutely no idea where they were supposed to get the money for that, considering the thousands of dollars that were already spent, and the fact that we no longer had anything of value in our house. They want to use my daughter's college fund, which to me is absolutely off limits. I feel like it's completely unfair to my daughter to punish her for my stepson's addiction, unfair to my late husband and his parents, but frankly, I don't think spending $30,000 will work. My husband thinks I'm an asshole because I'm prioritizing my daughter's education over his son's life, and he believes medical needs come first. He then asked my daughter if she'd be willing to use $30,000 from her fund to pay for her stepbrother's rehab, and she got very quiet and did not answer. He then got very upset with her and said she was being selfish. My daughter later told me that she didn't want to give her stepbrother the money, but she felt so guilty, and I am furious at my husband for emotionally guilt-tripping my daughter like that. Yeah, no kidding, I would be too. That's probably something I would break the relationship over if it was rocky before this point. I'm sorry that your son is addicted to drugs and multiple programs before this haven't worked. What makes you think that this $30,000 program will work? Maybe it's a him problem. I'm sure there are cheaper alternatives out there that he can go to get help. I think it's very unfair on your daughter to be expected to use that $30,000 from her funds. That's not okay to ask. It's just not. I would never ask someone that. I just think it's extremely disrespectful to have asked that. My conclusion here is, I get where the husband is coming from, and I understand he's suffering, and I understand you guys need to do these things together. And a lot of your money is gone right now, and the world is in a crap place. But at the end of the day, there is some things you just don't ask for, even though the money is there. Not the a-hole. And in the comments, Cypher Mac says, not the a-hole. They want to use my daughter's college fund, which to me is absolutely off limits. That's not up to you, them, or anyone. That's your daughter's money in all but name. Your husband paid into it, your daughter's grandparents paid into it, you paid into it for her. Not for some kid that half these people don't know. He then got very upset with her and said that she was being selfish. Why did you allow this? Why are you allowing this to be your daughter's concern? Why is she being put in this position? I get that you're furious, but this is way over the line. This shouldn't be, am I the a-hole for refusing? This should be, so I left this guy because he crossed a line and made my daughter feel accountable for an addict because she wouldn't give $30,000 designated for her future. Addiction is a serious problem, and I'm sorry for your stepson and his dad, but not sorry enough to excuse what they're trying to pull here. Your daughter is not a cash cow for them to raid when it suits. This kid has stolen your money and your property. He's trying to steal your daughter's future. You're right. I should have stopped him immediately. The only reason I've tolerated it so far is because obviously I love my husband, but also because I understand the pain he's in as a parent, and I can't help but be sympathetic when I imagine my daughter in the position his son is in. I would be terrified and cross boundaries as well. I believe that my stepson was a good man before the drugs and could be a good man again. But I just can't sacrifice my own daughter's potential education for that possibility. But the idea of him potentially dying from an overdose one day when I could have helped him is just... I can't even express it. This is the problem for me. You are not being asked to help. In this case, I know you did previously. Your daughter is, and that's not fair. If this was you and your partner taking out a second mortgage, taking a loan or whatever, my answer would be different. My only issue here is that your daughter is being asked to make a sacrifice for this guy. Edit. Thinking on this, your daughter has now been put in this position too. I imagine before now, she never considered that she could help, being 15. Now she knows that she could give money to help, and if she refuses, she might have some guilt if something bad happens. You need to take this decision away from your daughter. It's unfair to give her any reason to feel responsible for the outcome to your stepson. American Girl says, not the a-hole, absolutely. I'll share a personal story. My son was a heroin addict and we spent a lot of money on various rehabs, including what should have been spent for his college. Nothing worked, and eventually we told him that we would no longer be contributing to rehab, bail money, or lawyers. He could sit in jail and enjoy the bologna sandwiches and the public defender. We still loved him, and I allowed him to take showers at my house and eat my food, but that was it. Eventually, he got tired of living like a bum. All he had was his addiction. One day, all on his own, he decided to apply to the local outpatient methadone clinic. They had paperwork requirements. He did them. There were other hoops to jump through, and he fulfilled them. If they said, show up at 5 a.m., he got up early and went. I didn't nag him or remind him. This was all new, encouraging behavior, and I was holding my breath, hoping that he really was serious this time. That was 6 or 7 years ago. He's been off opiates completely for 5 years after slowly weaning off the methadone. Now he works for a federal agency, lives with his non-addict girlfriend, has money in the bank, and applied for and received a pardon from his state for his misdemeanors, which is how he was able to get this job. We let him hit rock bottom and detached from his addiction while still loving him. It could have gone either way. We were just lucky, but he had to climb out of that hole. If your stepson really wants to change his life, it's up to him to do it. And really that message just carries through with a lot of things in life that I've seen thus far. It's kind of why a lot of the time I give up on trying to help people with things, because I realize if you want something to change, all I can give you is words of advice and encouragement, because I can't force that change myself. There really are very little circumstances where I can help a friend or family member where I would like to see them stop repeating a pattern of behaviors that's led them to the situation they're in, and they choose not to break that pattern. You kind of do need people to hit rock bottom before they will make a change sometimes, as unfortunate as that is, and how much we encourage that to be the exact opposite of what we do for people. And yes, it's scary, and in situations like this, sometimes you lose your child to an addiction, but I guess majority of the time, you just have to put them on that path. Is $30,000 in 60 days really going to change things? Because his history beforehand hasn't shown that he's going to change. And that's a hard moral question for me. It's one that I struggle with in this equation here. Anyway, guys, I'll stop with the waffle right now. And I guess I'll just sign off the episode here. I took a 3-day break there. I'm sorry if you guys missed me. I don't know, just didn't feel like making videos all that much. But I'm back at it now. I'm making videos, I've had my break, and feeling a lot better. I did put out that post the other day asking if you'd like to see me stream. I think I will experiment a bit with streaming on YouTube. I just have to sort some stuff out on this end. And yeah, I'll do some streaming on like Minecraft and stuff. Tell me what kind of stuff you'd love to see me stream. I'm just thinking some games and talking to you guys. Not much else in the way of that right now. Anyway, guys, this has been Markee. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.